Imagine 30,000 fans packed into a single arena, cheering for one player before she has won a single title. This is not simply tennis. This is a movement. The moment you stepped inside from the outside, the Linz Open looked like any other tournament day. But the moment you walked through the doors, everything changed. The air felt different. Charged. Electric. Like something historic was building before a ball had even been struck. 30,000 fans. Every seat filled. Every corner of the arena alive with energy that had nothing to do with the draw sheet or the rankings or the tournament stakes. They were there for one reason and one reason only. Alexandra Eala. You could feel it everywhere. In the flags snapping across the stands. In the colors flooding the arena. In the voices that refused to fall quiet for even a moment. This was not a crowd. This was a force. Organized by love rather than logistics, assembled by loyalty rather than obligation. The moment she stepped onto the court, the noise did not simply rise. It exploded. A deafening roar shook the stadium from the ground up. Fans leaped to their feet. Phones lit up across every section. Her name echoed off the walls again and again in a chant that was not organized, not planned, not rehearsed. It was pure emotion. Raw and unfiltered, and enormously powerful. Some of the people in those seats had traveled thousands of miles to be there. Some had waited hours outside just for a glimpse. And now they were finally seeing her. Their player, their pride, the young woman who had come to carry something much larger than a tennis racket onto that court. Every corner of the arena carried the same message. She is not alone. Why it felt bigger than a final, what made the atmosphere at Linz so genuinely extraordinary was not its size, but its meaning. This was an early round match. There was no trophy waiting at the end of the week with her name already engraved on it. No historic record being broken in real time. No Grand Slam storyline driving the narrative. And yet, it felt bigger than all of those things combined. Because this was not about titles. This was about connection. This was about a nation standing behind one of their own in a foreign country, in a small Central European city, in an intimate tennis venue that was never designed to contain this kind of emotional energy. Every time Eala moved, the crowd reacted. Every swing of her racket triggered a response. Even the smallest moment felt enormous. And when she looked up into the stands, she did not simply see supporters. She saw thousands of people who had followed her journey from the beginning, who had believed in her long before the world started paying attention. This was loyalty on a level that professional sport rarely witnesses. This was the Filipino army. And they had not simply shown up. They had taken over. Where it all began, to fully understand what happened in Linz, you have to go back. Back to a young girl in the Philippines with a dream that seemed almost impossibly large given her circumstances. She was not born into tennis royalty. She did not have courts at her doorstep or a coaching infrastructure built around her from childhood. She came from a country where basketball and boxing dominate the national sporting conversation, and tennis occupied a relatively small corner of the public imagination. Resources were limited. Opportunities were scarce. Many talented young athletes in those conditions simply fade, not because their ability runs out, but because the support structures necessary to develop it never arrive. What Eala had, in the absence of all those advantages, was something harder to manufacture and impossible to buy. Unstoppable determination. While others had the infrastructure, she had the hunger. The deep, burning, daily hunger to improve that no facility or coaching budget can replicate in a person who does not already possess it. Every early morning practice. Every sore muscle at the end of a brutal training week. Every long flight to a tournament in a country that did not know her name. She embraced all of it because she understood, instinctively and completely, that talent alone would never be sufficient. She began winning junior tournaments locally. Then she moved to the international stage. Opponents started to notice, not just her skill, but the mental toughness beneath it. The fearlessness that made her dangerous in tight moments rather than cautious. But the most important people noticed first. Her people. The Filipino fans who had seen her play in small venues when the crowds were thin and the world barely registered her existence. They saw the spark. They saw the heart. And they believed, long before any ranking confirmed, what they already knew. What 30,000 voices do to a player? Here is the question that sits at the center of every moment like this one. What does this level of support actually do to a player? Because 30,000 fans cheering your name is not always purely positive. For some athletes, it becomes pressure, suffocating, paralyzing pressure. The weight of thousands of expectations landing simultaneously on a single pair of shoulders.
The fear of letting people down.
The mental shift from playing your game to playing for the crowd, which is almost always the beginning of the end. For Eala, it looked like fuel. Every cheer was not a weight, it was a spark. You could see it in her movements, the focus in her eyes, the intensity in every step and every swing. She was not playing against the atmosphere. She was feeding off it, absorbing it, converting it into something that made her sharper rather than heavier. Even when she was down, even when the match was tight and the scoreboard looked unfavorable, her fans did not waver, and neither did she. A double fault. The cheers intensified. A missed shot. A wave of encouragement swept through the arena. This was not passive support. This was active, unconditional belief expressed in real time, match by match, point by point. Because some players crumble beneath expectation. Others, like Eala, transform it into something that exceeds what they could access alone. When 30,000 hearts beat alongside yours, you have more than your own strength available to draw from. And that changes what is possible. The larger story, what happened in Linz, was not normal. It was not something anyone could have predicted when the draw was released. It was not the natural result of a seeded player performing well at a prestigious event. It was historic. And it was historic not because of the tennis, though the tennis mattered, but because of what it represented. A young woman from a nation that had never produced a WTA star of this magnitude had arrived in a small Austrian city, and 30,000 people who shared her background, her language, and her identity had arrived with her. Not summoned, not organized by a promotional campaign, drawn by something organic and genuine and impossible to manufacture. The Filipino army had not just shown up to watch a tennis match. They had shown up to be part of a story they already believed in completely. And in that arena, with the flags waving and the chants building and the energy refusing to diminish regardless of the score, Eala became something more than a tennis player. She became a symbol, a proof of concept, a living demonstration that no matter where you come from, with the right combination of talent and work and heart, you can fill arenas in countries that had never heard your name until recently. This is only the beginning. Here is the part that matters most. Linz was not the peak of the story. It was not the culmination of a journey approaching its end. It was a spark, the moment when the broader world began to recognize that something genuinely extraordinary was unfolding and that it was nowhere near finished. Alex has already proven something remarkable. She is not simply another rising star in the tennis world. She carries something rare, a fire that does not merely win matches, but inspires people who have never picked up a racket to care deeply about what happens when she picks up hers. 30,000 fans in Linz, without a single major title on the line, without a trophy waiting at the end of the week, without any of the conventional markers of established greatness. That is not just support, that is faith. That is a community of people who decided, before the results confirmed it, that she was worth following. And if this is what her journey looks like now, if this is the energy and the connection and the collective belief she carries at this stage of her career, just imagine what arrives when the biggest titles begin to follow. The Filipino army will be there, louder, stronger, more present in more countries and more arenas than anyone currently has the infrastructure to manage. And Eala will be ready for every single point of it. Her story is no longer simply about personal achievement. It is about what is possible when talent meets belief, when a girl from Quezon City decides the world is worth showing up for, and an entire nation decides to show up with her. The best, without any question, is still to come.